Good evening, good morning, and good night. Welcome to Inappropriate Radio. It's your host, Tashana, the hostess with the mostest. Let's get into this. So, hi guys. No, not the periodic table. We should be resuming to that shortly, but the creator wanted me to get into something. As of late, I haven't been getting into the full moons and the different portals. I did talk about the Lionsgate portal this year, but I didn't really go into any of the phases and cycles of the moon. Particularly, I think the creator wanted me to really pay attention, but I think he wanted me to actually pay attention. If you know, you know, right? But this particular portal that we're in, we might want to be a little bit careful, okay? And please take everything that I'm saying with you back to source. You don't have to take my word for it. And please excuse me if you hear any echoes or anything like that in the background, okay? Now, although we know that these portals are times to manifest, we have to remember that these are cycles where a threshold of energy is present for a period, a very small period of time. You don't want to get caught in the middle of the door while it is closing, and you don't even want to be right there when it's first being open, right? I'll explain to you what I mean by that, but we are setting intentions on this day, and I'm not even speaking against any of the manifestation techniques or tools that you may be using. Of course, we know that scribing is probably one of the best ways to manifest since the beginning of time, right? However, the energy that you're sitting in your spirit, hear me well, the energy that you are sitting in within your spirit is the main thing that you want to focus on. So, and I'm not telling you that doing this or not doing this is the best way to manifest for this 1111 portal, right? I'm just saying for any of the portals, but especially ones like 1111, 1212, 88. Remember, these portals don't exactly open on the day of, right? They may open a few hours or a day or two before the actual date, right? So this portal doesn't have to necessarily open up on 1111. It could have came into the room on the 9th, right? Or even the 8th. It just depends on the portal and what the purpose of the portal is, okay? So when you get to thinking about your intentions and how you're going to set them, you need to more so internalize it. It doesn't really have to even be verbalized. And I would even say if you write them down, keep it in a sacred space as you would for most of your most important manifestations, right? This particular portal is for us to be closing out. See, we have to be aware. We get so excited when these different portals come. When we get to talking about how we're gonna manifest and start these new cycles. But first of all, if you're going into a new portal, you need to make sure that all of the cycles that you started are healed up. Not even finished or closed off, but healed up in a way that if you're coming into this portal with any energy attached to an old portal, right? Or a cycle, or the cycle that you're currently in, is under construction but vibrating at a frequency high enough that it's compatible with the energy that you're going into. What do I mean? Okay, let's just say This particular energy is about ending all things that mean you no good, as all of them do, right? But this one is mainly about coming closer to your ancestors, your angels, walking into your purpose, being a little bit more familiar with your gifts and your assignment, right? A lot of the other portals have something to do with materialistic things, right? So manifesting the things that you want to see come to life, right? These manifestations that we speak of, we have to be clear, right, when we are setting these intentions, because again, these portals have different purposes. Okay? Some of the portals are for courage and for you to be able to have clarity and speak up and to be able to use your gifts. Some of them are to be able to understand your gifts and to become more acquainted with the universe. Then you have some or others, like this 1111 portal that we're in right now, that is solely set for the purposes of you aligning with your bloodline, with your purpose, and becoming more acquainted with your ancestors in the journey of your soul. This is where the connection starts to come in with the warfare. Because if you are becoming more acquainted with your ancestors, right, and you haven't healed the ancestral curses or the cycles that are related to trauma, ancestral trauma, then you are absolutely going to pick up the spirits that are related to the bloodline, that are related to the ancestors. You're going to conjure up ancestors. We're in a portal, so this is the best time to ignite any of those energies for the ancestors, right? This is the ancestor portal. New beginnings, endings, that's where all of them are for. But this particular one that we're in is for us to call in the cesties. So if you're calling in your ancestors and you're telling them to draw near you and you're calling in the angels and you're getting more aligned with your purpose, first of all, if you're not prepared mentally, forget the spiritual part. If you're not physically, mentally, and emotionally prepared to take on the trauma that is associated with your ancestors, you don't need to be setting intentions for this portal. Let's start there. You'll get trapped with the spirit that otherwise could have stayed where it was because your ancestors were handling it. But here you are opening your mouth and setting intentions for something that you don't even understand. This is why it's important to be fully aware of what you're calling in. Stop just calling in stuff and not even looking into where this stuff originates. Like, what is the purpose of this particular portal? All of the portals are not the same, guys. And again, we talked about, getting rid of the altars, because majority of the spirits that we're calling back they're being born again, right? They're being reincarnated. So we don't even need these altars anymore because, I'm sorry. So we've had the conversation, right? Of how half of the ancestors that we are calling out to are already coming through the pipeline. They're about to be reincarnated. So we can put the altars up. We can do away with the altars for right now, right? For at least 1,000 years or so. All right, but that's another segment. But the whole point is that you can get trapped with energy from these portals if you're not careful. A lot of people are so gun-ho on setting manifestations and intentions, but the overall point is your energy, the energy that you're in, the things that you are thinking, the foods that you're eating, the things that you're listening to and watching, everything that you're consuming needs to be a vibrational match for your desires, for the things that you want to call in, for the things that you are looking forward to changing. Because these are the things that ultimately enhance the bloodline, right? You want to do things that are directly correlated to ancestors, right? So even if that means going to like a grave site or just paying homage to one of the ancestors without necessarily calling them in, right? This could just be you thanking God for the gifts, that you receive from that particular ancestor, or just speaking to them, reaching out to them, saying, hey, I appreciate your sacrifice and what you've done to contribute to the bloodline, and just recognizing the energy that this particular energy has brought forward. It is not your job to heal things for the bloodline unless the creator told you it is your job. Okay? So that means you don't need to be calling on no ancestors unless you have been permitted to call on them, because we're playing with spiritual laws here, right? So when you start calling on different entities and energies, your ancestors are considered entities, okay? When you call on these entities and energies, you need to make sure that you're not breaking any spiritual laws, because some of these spirits are bound to realms that are not connected to this particular dimension that we're currently in. Some of these energies that we are calling on are not even, they're like on probation or punishment, not even that they're in hell. Some of them are earthbound, right? So you don't really have to do much. And these are mainly the ancestors that we already have access to anyway, right? The ones that are earthbound, the ones that have to assist you along with the angels, the one that have to pass along some sort of task or assignment, right? And it's easier to stay in contact with you with them just being earthbound. That's how God wrote it, right? To happen. They specifically didn't get to finish whatever the assignment was, because it's up for you to work on next. And whatever you don't finish, you pass on to the next. This is how it goes. It's a chain, okay? We have to be conscientious of the things that we quote unquote call ourselves setting intentions on. These portals are not for us to just be sitting down writing stuff and saying what you want for the future and what you want to happen today and in the next 6 months and the next year. That's not how this goes, guys. You have to be really careful on what it is you're speaking, what it is you're thinking, what it is that you're allowing to consume your airways, because this is where a lot of the confusion comes in. People are under the assumption that when these portals come, you can just set intentions on anything. No, do research, find out what it is that you have to heal, okay? Because the things that you have to heal sometimes have nothing to do with the bloodline. It's just something that you've picked up along the way, and you have added that to the link. Okay? And you have to be certain. You have to be sure. You have to know what you're doing. You can't just go calling on stuff because it sounds right and everybody's doing it. That's not how this works, okay? So be sure that the things you are connecting yourself to are even correlated to your vessel. Sometimes these portals don't even apply to us because we have already reached a particular level. We're at a certain frequency, so we don't even need to do certain things anymore because we understand the assignment. It's not for us. Okay, so it's really important to understand the time constraints that are connected to your ancestral patterns. Don't get so caught up with the nonsense that is quote unquote supposed to be connected to you in your bloodline. Like, you have to be sure, you have to do the research, you have to be observant, you have to fast, you have to pray, you have to be conscious and aware, and you have to be deliberate and intentional about what it is that you are healing about yourself, that is going to for sure affect those that have come before you and those that are here and those that are coming while you're gone. Okay? Do research on these portals before you just start setting intentions. Okay? But I'm going to go ahead and get up out of here. I do love y'all. I hope y'all are drinking your water, eating y'all fruit and vegetables, and sipping on your own tea because it's free. And I hope y'all are enjoying your weekend. All right. Love y'all. Peace.